Okay, welcome to the new year everybody. I haven't had much time to do everything over Christmas due to obviously it's Christmas, so everyone's away on holiday and whatnot. But I finally got the steering sorted in this. That's where I'm up to now. I've got a couple of small clamps to go in yet, but I've mounted the steering box in. I decided to go with the original Patrol. I thought, why not carry the spare if I've got it, why not? And I've coupled that to a worm drive little 12-volt motor straight through there. That gives me enough torque to turn it, and then down the bottom there to connect it all together. Just made a clamp to go on here. I had to make that clamp able to be able to move around, otherwise if I try to wheel align everything I can't turn this one here around to adjust the toe in and toe out on the trailer. So I've made that clamp. I've got to put a couple of clamps in there just to finish that clamp, but I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's got a split through it so that a couple of U-bolts go around it and clamp up. I've got a steering arm into there with a couple of tie rods to move it, and it seems to work alright. So I've got the battery set up here, and we'll have a bit of a try and we'll see how she goes. I'll just try and swap hands here, try and do it one-handed. So, see if we can get this to move. Yep, all the tyres move, no problem at all. And then for the other direction, we just change over our power terminals the other direction. So I'll just have to use two different solenoids for this, so back and forth. But otherwise, it seems to work quite well. We can go back the other way, and then back the other way again. Now, for on the highway, obviously I don't want it to be able to turn, so down here on the shaft, I've done the same thing as a steering lock in the car would do, as if to lock the steering. So down here I have a plate welded to the diff and a corresponding plate on this here. So as it turns around, it will line up together, and then I can I've got a bolt that just goes straight through these two here. So straight through there and bolts those two tight together, and then it's like holding the steering wheel locked solid, which means none of this can move anywhere, which means it should be all solid enough to be fine. Yep, and it's all solid, doesn't seem to wander, there's no play in anything, so awesome. So all I have left to finish the chassis now is just the clutch fork on the drive, and possibly a landing leg up the front so I don't have to drop it on the ground. Other than that, that's the chassis finished. So then I can get into this. I went and got some paint, some sealants, and all the bits and pieces I need to finish underneath the floor. So that will be being started very, very shortly. So once I've got it underneath the floor, welded out and painted, I can bolt it back on the chassis here, and then it's all go from there. So I've only got a couple of months left to finish it, so before I have to be on the road. So here's hoping I can get it all done and painted and ready to go. May have to eventually do a few finishing touches along the road, but other than that, it's all good. All the brakes work. They're all plumbed up and blared. Everything's looking good. Just a couple of nuts and bolts to finish tightening. Like I got a bolt here. I've had to bar in and out a couple of times, and down the bottom there. So I've just got to go around and tighten up all the nuts and bolts. But I've also looked at the power steering here, and I might get hold of I think it's a Vauxhall Astra electric power steering pump, and I might hook that up to here because it's only 12 volts, you see. So if I can hook it up that it triggers to turn on whenever I move the steering, I should have power steering, which would make it a lot easier to turn when there's a good load on it, nice and heavy. So, but all the mounting's done for that. It's all mounted up nice and neat. As you can tell by the water, we've had a lot of rain lately, so some big thunderstorms here in Queensland. So yeah, this is where I'm at the moment, and yeah, nearly there. It's coming together. I'll give you all a bit more of an update shortly.